Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to WREM. This time we have a new hit, a new issue to discuss, a new learning. So thank you everyone who will participate and who will leave their questions to Michael. Diogo will present Michael, of course. I just want to thank also to our supporters from Projeto Sonar and Lean Today and Entendeiro Lean that are always with us since 2020. And well, I'm very curious to learn with Michael and to start the discussion after. So Diogo, the stage is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ricardo, and welcome everyone. As I was saying a couple of minutes ago, it's a pleasure to do this. And personally, I've learned so much on the different ways that we can apply this continuous improvement mindset in different facets of our lives. And on that note, today we have Michael Hoffman with us. Hello, Michael. Just to tell a little bit about Michael. Michael is an executive coach working with leaders of global 500 and Fortune 500 companies. He's also the CEO of LeanMail, a suite of productivity solutions for email, meetings, and projects. Also CEO and partner of Trendia, a consultancy firm working with medium to large organizations, bringing about dynamic improvements in productivity for knowledge workers through innovation and the facilitation of change. And today, Michael will talk to us a little bit about LeanMail and, as I've learned recently, about focus. But just to tell you a little bit about LeanMail, and of course, Michael, you're much better than I to give those explanations. But LeanMail is a group of customizable solutions for managing email that combines the best-in-class practices with proprietary add-ins that seamlessly bolt into Microsoft Outlook. Each LeanMail solution or module is independent of the others, but can be combined to satisfy specific email management needs. So on that note, Michael, welcome. Please do tell us a little bit about yourself and LeanMail.
Well, I think you've told a lot about myself, and I appreciate that. And I want to just jump into our presentation for today and get started. And on your screen, you'll see, and thank you very much, by the way, for the very nice introduction, both of you. So on your screen, you see this quote from Jim Collins: "Good is the enemy of great." I'm a big fan of Jim Collins and a big fan of his quote as well. And, to be great, really great at whatever you do, whether you're a plumber or an aerospace engineer or a symphony orchestra conductor or a football player, you have to have talent. Right? But talent won't get you there alone. You have to have the right method. You have to have the right mechanics, and of course, the right mindset. And I'm today going to talk to you about the first two, and hopefully you already have the last. So let's talk about a few facts. The Tesla X can travel from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.6 seconds. That's one fact. If you're born in 1982, you have 396 productive months left and 276 if you're born in 1962. McKinsey says that we spend 28% of our working hours on email. Those are the facts. But who really cares? We don't really care. It's like climate change. Unless the volcano is knocking on our door, it's out of sight, out of mind. Why? Because there's no context. Nothing that draws us in, and mainly no emotional charge. That's the challenge there. There's no connection. But how many of you tried a Tesla? How many of you been in a Tesla? Well, you can't speak to me right now, so I'm just going to assume that someone here has been in a Tesla. And I'm hoping that the driver put the pedal to the metal and you felt that whoosh that force on your chest that just hits you like a brick. That's a lot more interesting than 3.6 seconds, right? The 3.6 seconds doesn't really mean anything when you hear it, but if you've experienced it in a Tesla, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know the average of everyone here, but probably it's somewhere between 39 and 59 years. If you're 39, you have this much productive time in your life. Now take a look at that. It's not much. You've already used up over half of it, right? I'm taking consideration that probably by the time we've reached 70 in terms of our productive work life, that's about it, right? I know some of you will continue, but it really shows us that we don't have that much time. And it's kind of hard to contemplate, when you look at that. Again, it's the context that creates the urgency. If you don't visualize it, you don't really feel it. You don't feel the emotion from that. Now take a look at what it is for me. I'm 59. I was born in 62. Not much time left. I'm thinking about that all the time, right? So all of a sudden, these facts are starting to feel like something. So McKinsey says we spend 28% of our time on email. Let's say it's only 20, let's say it's 25, whatever it is for you. That's an enormous amount of time every day. And what if, instead of pretty good, we were exceptionally efficient and effective with that time? So that's really what LeanMail strives for. If you think about your first day of work, and then when you retire, and you think about your history with Outlook, or email in general, you might have increased the slope of learning by taking an Outlook class or something like that. But in the end, you're going to end up at a certain point, and you're probably not going to get too much better from that point on. The slope will be rather insignificant. But the idea here is that you might take a training in LeanMail Instant Archive and bring yourself up to the next level. Or in LeanMail Prioritize and bring yourself up to another level, and then LeanMail Plan and bring yourself up to yet another level. And you've spent 3 hours doing that, and then you continue getting better, because the idea is that you are able now to get better and better in your performance in this one particular area. Or you could spend 3 hours cleaning out your inbox on a weekend or on a vacation and never increase your ability, right? You're just losing all of that productive time every single day, because instead of spending the 3 hours in various training courses, you simply continue the way you are and never get better. So now I'm going to put some notes, some monetary notes all over this football field, but I'm covering them up so you can't see the denominations. It's kind of like emails in your inbox. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to pick up as much money as you possibly can. So what's your strategy? Well, you'll probably run around and grab as much as you can. Sound familiar? Sound a little bit like your inbox? But what if you could see those denominations? Then you're probably going to be more strategic. But let's face it, when you're running around at a breakneck speed, it's easy to miss an important one. So let's talk a little bit about Pareto Principle, because we're going to apply that right now. Now, some of you already know that the Pareto Principle is about the vital few and the trivial many. Either something's important or it's not. It's like you get pregnant or you're not pregnant. There's no medium. That's the beauty of it. So there's no ambiguity. And this is extremely helpful for us. So 80% of our sales are coming from 20% of our customers. And 20% of our problems are 80% of our time. 20% of our emails create 80% of our opportunities. So let's take a look at this football field again. Suddenly things have changed when we see exactly where the most valuable notes are. Now, it's at this time, some of you are probably thinking that you can kind of make out where the most important emails are in your inbox just by the subject line and so on. But probably most of you are hunting and pecking. You'll click on one email, you'll click on another, and so on. It's simply not like this. And this would be even better. But this is more like what we're stuck with. Can't really see it very clearly. Now, I'm not saying that you're flying blind. Many of you have constructed really great systems, and you're using Outlook in the best way you know how to do that. And I'm sure you've put a lot of effort into that. I'm not poo-pooing that. But I am saying that without the extra tools and a lean methodology, it will be hard to come close to a level that's a quantum leap from what Outlook alone can offer you. So here I'm showing you a today view, what we call the today view in Outlook. And notice that your mails are in priority order, not in the last mails coming at the top of your list, but your most important mails are on the top. And you also have a daily to-do list that you can see in the black rectangle. And you're doing this without dragging and dropping mails into task or calendar items, right? So with these next actions, you know exactly what you need to do during your day. Maybe you want to see all your emails as well. You can do that by just clicking on a button. Here they are, sorted by due date, and then by next actions. So you can see all your groups of mails as well. That allows you to replan them very easily. So here we are on the next day. And of course, that's also pre-planned for you. You've done that in the processing of your email. When you're done, it looks like this, inbox 0. And that doesn't mean that all your emails are completed. It just means that you get to feel what done is like every single day. That's a nice feeling. So the question is, why would you spend 28% of your day, or even 1%, working like this when it can be like this? And I'll leave you with this.
Wow. Michael, I love the presentation, and I just thought it was an amazing way that you showed how important and how impactful it is, the 28% of the time that we invest in just looking at emails. And if you translate that into weeks of your life,
yeah, it's pretty scary. Diogo, I don't want to get stuck on the 28% because some people say, well, I don't spend that much time. And actually, nobody really is, clocking you, right? And the point really is that it's not about whether it's 12% or 15% or 40%, whatever percentage. We were having this conversation earlier today. We always want to do our best.
Exactly.
And the thing is that most people see email as a personal productivity problem, when in fact, it's more of a technical issue. The things that I was just showing you, at the last portion of the presentation, these are technical things that we have done with software to enable Outlook to do those things. You can't do that with Outlook. And there are certain things that of course, you can do with Outlook, but they're never going to approach that level.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Interesting. I'm looking. So I was focusing on the structure that you've shown in the end, and what would you say are the challenges in implementing such a structure on in a company? Again, we were talking a little bit before the webinar about the change management. I have a feeling that you brought that question because probably that's also the major challenge here. Would you say?
Oh, without a doubt, it's let's say it's the 80%. And really, I feel like we are a change management organization more than we are a software company. And I certainly never planned on being a software company owner. It was always about change management. After all, I'm an executive coach, right? So I came at this from the people perspective rather than from the technical perspective. The most important part about this is to give flexibility, and that's what we've built into LeanMail. I haven't given you a demo today, but I can tell you that when we're doing our training, there are different levels of control that we can give a person in their inbox. So it's not one size fits all. And that's difficult to present for you here today. But what happens is we say, okay, maybe you're the type of person that just throws it all in your inbox. Or maybe you're the type of person that has lots and lots of folders, right? Whatever person you are, there is a way to upgrade. And so inside our modules, you can find the right module for you and then customize that module so that it works exactly how you want it to work, rather than us telling you, like some consultant, this is the way you're going to work. You're going to have these 4 folders and you have to do it this way. We think that you need to be very flexible. That's one thing. The second thing is that you have to do this in a gradual way. It's discomforting to do something new, no matter what it is, no matter if it's good for you. Let's think about the first time that you drove a car, right? The first time you drove a car, and remember, you're really excited about driving a car, right? Every 16-year-old kid in America, in Europe it's a little bit older, but in America, you're 16 years old. On your birthday, you're getting your driver's permit, right? And then you get in the car and you realize, oh, there's the rear view mirror, there's the side mirror, there's the clutch, there's the brake, there's the gas, it's impossible. I'll never be able to drive. So that's what we all suffer with any kind of change. So we want to make sure that this is gradual change, which is why we've created modules for LeanMail, rather than throwing everything at them at once. I just showed you today 2 modules very rapidly. That would normally take an hour and a half of training to get you to what I just showed you. And that's why I'm also reluctant to give these kinds of presentations that way. But I also understand that people kind of want to know what's going on. What am I going to get out of this, right? So absolutely, it's the change management that is the most important part.
So it feels like then, depending on the person way of working and interacting with Outlook, you already have different strategies, and of course you can also adapt the tools that you have available to meet the person's natural way of working with Outlook, to always, let's say, focus on what's important and not focus on the few and not the many, right?
Yeah, I also think we focus on values. As I hope I showed in my presentation today, this was not so much about our software, but about making sure that we could combine Pareto Principle into the way we're working, right? So it's about Pareto Principle and understanding how important that is. If 20% of your productivity, or let's say let's say 20% of your customers are bringing in 80% of the money into the company, well, you better focus on that 20%, and you better have tools that enable you to do that. If not, you're just guessing, and that just doesn't work, right? So that if you value that, if you think that that's important, then we have a tool for you. So first, it's Do you want it? Is this interesting for you? And then if it is, then you're going to want to learn it. We were talking about languages today, right? Mm-hmm. What is going to make you learn Spanish? What is going to make me learn Spanish? It was Sylvia. I was in love with Sylvia, and I wanted to learn Spanish to be with her, right? If I was going to do something just because I kind of felt like it, let me take some Spanish lessons, would I continue with it? Is there enough of a carrot to do that? Probably not. So it really has to do with hooking into the value proposition, and then people will want to learn it, and then make it easy for them. For instance, our first module, which is Instant Archive, which I've not presented today, is all about being able to archive mails from your keyboard into one smart folder, and then being able to find it any mail with one click. Now that sounds pretty exciting, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to try to do that, and it's only 2 steps, so people can handle that. And actually, 93% of the people that we train in that adopt it. So it's a very high number. It's why we start with that particular module. But even in that module, there are a number of different things that you can do to make it yours, right? There are 3 levels of control. You don't want the top level of control, go for the second or go for the first. Or start with the first and then build up to the third, all in that one module. So we're thinking exactly that way.
Interesting. And you made me think, because not only you were bringing the Pareto, let's say, mindset into the emails, but you're also bringing a little bit of a visual management, because at least from what I looked in structuring, not only you are prioritizing some certain emails according probably to some certain rules that are set up in the beginning, but also you're calling those emails into attention. Of course, those customers that represent 80% of our revenue, or our managers that represent 80% of our work as well. So I can understand. Sure.
Absolutely, and actually there are 48 lean tools. We went through and counted them within LeanMail. Now, obviously, we don't talk about those tools to anybody. I have them listed. I have a PDF if you're interested, but we don't bring that up because it's just a turnoff. We're not saying to people, okay, this is Poka-Yoke. This is just in time. We're because it's really not important. It's about them using these tools and using the methodology. Then you can come back and say, hey, what you were doing right there, you know why this is impossible to have an error here? It's because we built in Poka-Yoke, right? It's Kanban, right? It's so many different things. The one-piece flow, right? All of this, and I'm not going to be able to present that all today, but that's all included in this.
I'm curious now, Michael, because also this space right here is also to showcase how can we apply the Lean principles in different areas. So you've mentioned 48 tools. When you were building or when you were developing, let's say, and improving LeanMail, what was the tool and the method that when you implemented or when you added to this way of working with LeanMail caused you the most surprise on how it worked? So
when you say what was the biggest surprise, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
For example, Poka-Yoke, that's a quite easy one to add, and you intrinsically feel that is needed. But maybe one-piece flow might be one of those tools that, let's say, how would I apply one-piece flow into my emails? So thinking of the tools that you implemented and the ideas, which one was the most out of the box?
So, when we talk about one-piece flow, let me explain how that works in LeanMail, because I think that is probably, for me, the most exciting part about this is the fact that you're led through this one-piece flow in your inbox. So you actually feel like you're a factory worker in a good way. Okay. When I say in a good way, I mean you're not concerning yourself with the mechanism of this. You're just following a flow, and things just get done, right? They go. The mails come in. You follow the procedure, 2 steps. Actually, it's 3 steps because of straighten. Because in Lean, when we're talking about the 5S, and we follow 5S, right? The first one is sort, and so we're going through the first 3 stages of 5S as part of our process, right? That is the one-piece flow that we're doing, and so the first step of this is to prioritize, right? And in our prioritization, we're using Pareto Principle, right? So we prioritize. Then we sort, which is adding next actions and when dates. And then we shine by saying, okay, we've now prioritized, we've now added the next actions and when dates. Now we have to shine by making sure that what we have in front of us for today is exactly right. It's our plan, it's our design. And if not, we make some slight adjustments to that, right? And so then we create this as a standard, and then hopefully we sustain that. So that's 5S in our inbox. And the great part is it's also combining the Eisenhower matrix, or the, escapes me right now, the Covey matrix of importance versus urgency, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what we're creating, that matrix, by using the priorities and the urgencies of the planning. So priorities from your high and normal prioritization. And then in the next step, we're adding the other element of urgency of when you need to do it.
Okay, that's very interesting. And I was not even thinking, when you talked about the one-piece flow or even 5S, how to apply it in an email environment. But it makes sense.
And remember, all of this stuff, we're talking theoretically right now, and technically, nobody thinks about that. Nobody's thinking 5S when they're working, and nobody even knows about it, really, except for us nerds, right?
But the cool thing is that they are doing it without knowing it, huh?
Absolutely, and that's what we want. We want people to get involved. We don't care if they. I mean, it's nice to know the theory, but the most important thing is operations. Get it done, execute, and that's what we're about.
And talking about operations, I wanted also to bring Ricardo to the table, because when Michael, you were showing the prioritization of those emails, and of course putting the most important ones on top, it felt like to me it was almost like a daily management meeting, but on a personal basis. I'm organizing my time in my in operations. Do you agree with this point of view, Ricardo, which is very similar to, let's say, a daily management operations in a factory?
Yes, I do. And why do I agree? Because in office, you also have a routine, and you also have a schedule, and you also have a timetable that you need to follow, and you have tasks that you have to accomplish. So even if you work in a planning team or another support team, or even is a free worker, you need to organize your work, your week, your day. So you will need to have a plan. And I loved when Michael said 2 things. First, when he spoke about the 28% of time consumed with email. And I just remember that who has a routine every day loses around 25% of time with routines that can be or not adding value. and other number that if each person is losing 30 minutes with unvalued tasks or with waste. It means that all over the year she is losing 3 weeks, or the way I used to say, the company is paying 3 extra holiday week. Okay, that was the first point that I fixed from Michael's intervention. The second one was he tries to teach instead of be focused on the name or in the nomenclature of the tool. And each time more, I do believe that that is the way. If you try to make people understand how did they do that in the past, why are they doing it that way, how can they do it in a different way, they will understand it much better and deeper. And then you can tell them, okay, so now what we did was this, or you are using this tool. And it's easier for them to assume the new method, to understand it. And I really enjoyed Michael saying that, because that way is stronger, and it's the way that we must use it. We are using in operations as well. So today, email is a tool that consumes so much time and preoccupation as a marketing center. Well, we can say that most of people are preferring to send an email than to phone or to contact directly the other person. Instead of taking the rule that if it's urgent, you go or you call. Sorry. If it's not so urgent, you can send an email. People send the email and they expect an answer, like if it is everything urgent.
You know, Ricardo,
So
pardon me
people
for-
spend a lot of time with emails, answering emails all the time that can be or not be urgent, can be or not for them exactly. And so 28% or 25%, it means that for a person that is working 8 hours a day, 2 hours per day, she's managing the information that she's receiving or has to answer. That's a lot of time.
It is. I also want to remark upon it's not just the time savings either. It's about making sure that you're not creating a
The
defect.
education of the system.
Well, if you think about defects, you think about, when I think about defects in email, I'm thinking about late mails, forgotten mails, not answering all the questions in a mail, all those types of things. That's also super important, and that's why when we talked about Poki, the idea of being late with the mail. I mean, it's in LeanMail, it's almost impossible to be late or lose a mail. It's hard for you to see that from our presentation here, but you'd have to do something physically wrong with your hands on your keyboard to be late, because we can actually all be in control of our email if we have the correct tools. It's not hard at all, even if you have tremendous volume.
Yes, Michael. Even I was talking about education, and I was remembering a colleague that I had a few years ago, and he taught all the organization that he was going to his mailbox 2 times a day, at 8 a.m. and around 5 p.m. So everyone knew that if it was needed, some answers, something that was in the email box of Andre, outside those hours, so from 8 to 9 and 5 to 6, people have to call him or to go to him, because he was not on email. And that is something that I keep until today. So I see that LeanMail can not only organize time and save a lot of time that is spent and a lot of emails that are lost, but also teach the process and teach people how to have flow and how to work in a much more profitable way as a team. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. And I want to point out that in 1 hour, right? This is not something that you need to spend weeks perfecting and so on, because we've divided up these modules into 1 hour training programs along with the software. Already in 1 hour, you've improved, greatly, and then you continue, right? So, and you're not going to fall back into your old ways, because now you have a structure for doing this. We put you on braces and we support you, right? So, and by the way, people should know that anybody who takes one of our courses and purchases our software, it's all no cure, no pay. If after you training and you don't feel like you've gotten anything from this, we won't invoice you. It's not money back guarantee. It's we won't even invoice you until you tell us that it's time, right? So absolutely, the change management piece is so important.
Michael, I'm very curious to know, or for you to share with us an example of one of your customers that felt that his or her life was completely changed with LeanMail, because it feels like it's such an easy thing to, let's say, plug in, that for the impact that it has in our life. Do you have an example like that?
I have hundreds. I have a couple of favorites. And by the way, not everybody, but a lot of people, like probably a lot of people in the audience today, are a bit cynical about this and say, yeah, I've seen it before. I know what that's all about. And, most of our customers have this kind of feeling when they enter into the dialogue with us, when they start to train. And the truth is, there's one customer from DHL. He's been using LeanMail for at least, I think, 8 years now. And he said, this was the greatest gift that I've received from DHL. That was a great comment. I like that one. There was a woman from Caisse d'Epargne, if you know that bank in France. She said, it would be cruel to withdraw the tool. So, and of course, there are lots of people who say, I couldn't live without it. Lots of accolades like that. So that's what drives me. That's my why, right? That's why I do this. I get an exceptional boost from hearing things like that. Yeah.
And in this area of continuous improvement, one of the things that I really love about the job, and I think you feel the same way, is the amount of time that we save. And we're not talking about money or the increasing efficiency, but the time that the person has free to invest in other things that they love. No more 10 hours work days. When you organize yourself and you have a stable operations and organized email box, you can create your own free time. And I think that's also what moves you, right, Michael?
Sure. Well, time is a funny thing, right? I mean, you saw the little squares that I put up about how much time we have left. And I can tell you, I updated mine for this presentation because I hadn't done it in a few months, right? Mm-hmm. And every single little green box that I had to click, ooh, that's painful, right? That's time. So you're thinking, hey, I only have this much time. Am I doing this right? Am I designing my life the right way? And whether it's email or project management or my personal life, I'm very attuned to that. And of course, more and more so with each passing year, right? So yeah, protecting your time is really important. And I don't want to spend one more minute on email than I have to, right? It's not like I'm a big fan of email. And as a matter of fact, I say, hey, use Teams, use the other channels. I'm not saying that we should all just go back to email, not at all. I mean, email is going to be around for another 40 years, just like the fax has not left us yet, right? It'll change, it'll morph, but still, it's going to be around. So don't just say, well, we're moving to Teams. That's denying the truth of things, right? The second thing, though, about time is what is it that makes us happy? I mean, we're spending our whole lives doing things. How much time is spent being happy? And what is the construct of happiness there? And for me, I've learned from Csikszentmihalyi that it's about flow, right? So I'm trying to create as much flow in my life as possible. When I'm doing email, I'm not doing it like a lot of other people, and hopefully our customers aren't either. We don't check our email. We go to our inbox and we work it, whether it's for half an hour or 20 minutes. It's not checking and looking at things. That's not working. That's wasting time. That's channel surfing, like we used to do on TVs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I want to have a flow experience. So when I come into my inbox, it just will pull me through, and then finally I'm done. I've done as much as I can do, and I know it's as much as I can do, because the rest, I'm waiting for somebody, I need something else, and I see that clearly in my inbox. And when I'm done for the day, it's white, and that's why we call it the snow, right? I'm done. That is something that helps us experience happiness. So those are two different ideas of time.
And Ricardo, looking at the business environment in Portugal, where would you see this tool to be highly beneficial to create this snow effect in the end of the day?
Well, almost everywhere. Because if you can look to the service area, you have banking, healthcare, that have a lot of information through emails, logistics services, as Michael referred a lot, but also in industry, in transformation companies, who now have a lot of information about raw materials, about supplying systems, that they must be always looking to email, always checking information. So they suffer from email dependency. Those are some cases that I see that this can be used in the interesting way that Michael said, looking for happiness instead of saving time. So there is a large possibility of applications. Even inside companies, you can have it, because there's a lot of waste of time about emails that people are sending for 10, 12 people. They are not organized. They create meetings with 10 people all at the same time, 1 hour in one room, unnecessarily. So the management of information is important, because what is not measured cannot be managed. And even inside transforming companies, tool companies, metal companies, plastic companies, they can save time and have flow, the way Michael said. So I see a large possibility of application, because it's not depending on the sector of the type of company, but the culture, the mentality, and the purpose that team has.
I have a comment and a question for you, Ricardo. First, it's interesting that I haven't come across a company where the lean leadership has ever done any measuring of email management.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's certainly 20 to 25%, if not what McKinsey says, 28% of knowledge workers' day. Think about that. It's a huge portion, and suddenly, that doesn't need to be lean, right? That's quite interesting for me. The second thing I wanted to say is more of a question, is if you think about ISO certification, why isn't there one for inbox management, right? Is that so far out there? that there should be?
No, indirectly there is, because the ISO is focused on the evidence of the process. The problem is not in the ISO, is in the way it is applied to the management of information and communication. And there, LeanMail can dismantle the actual process that most of companies have. But ISO just is looking for the evidence that you have the information in the best way, in the fastest way, in the easiest way. So ISO for me is okay. What is not okay is the way that people are thinking about the process and how to really have a flow process. And there, LeanMail can be the difference. That's my point of view.
Interesting. I think I would like to ask Michael to how would you to basically tell us how would you summarize the last well, we've been talking for 50 minutes. What end idea would you like to leave in this webinar?
I suppose is the idea that it would be really easy to make the change. This is not rocket science. This is a simple add-in for Outlook. It's not complex. There's no server attached to the end of it. It's not like we're receiving your emails and then sending them back, something like this. It's all self-contained on your own Exchange server. All the information is still on Office 365 or on Exchange. And so it really just takes for the leadership to say, you know what, maybe we should take a look at this. It doesn't cost anything to try it. It takes 1 hour to see if this really is what they say it is. And within an hour, they're going to find out that already they can improve their productivity and happiness of their employees. Because let's face it, email can be quite stressful for a lot of people. And even if people don't even recognize the stress that comes from working with email, I can tell you that it's the first thing that everybody talks about. Oh, wow. So much. Oh, I don't have to worry anymore. That's the first thing they talk about. They're not talking about productivity, right? They're not saying, oh, now I can really help my customers. No, it's me. And it should be. It should come from there. I mean, I'm building a tool for people, not for businesses. The end result is that it helps the business. The end result is all about the customer, right? Every single click in LeanMail is about the customer. It's adding value for the customer. And that can be the internal customer, that can be the external customer. So I think it's time to say, hey, email is still going to be with us, whether we wish it away. I mean, there were companies 10 years ago who said, we're going to stop email. And they're going to shut email down. And of course, it didn't work. There isn't a single company that made that work. It's ridiculous. It's because they lacked imagination. So luckily, there's somebody who dedicated 15 years of his life and the life of their teams and all of our customers, because they all contribute to this. And we've come up with at least a better way that our customers think is a better way anyway. And so why not give it a try? Why not check it out?
Okay, wow. And we have also Diego that, not myself, another colleague, that agreed with you as well, Michael. Having said that, Michael, Ricardo, what do you think is really stopping us from just giving it a try and saving hours of our life and increasing our happiness?
Diogo, everything in life has a good side and a bad side. And there are two things that usually we, as a community, are used to think as bad things. So, Michael spoke already about one of them. One is to be selfish. Well, if you are selfish, you are just looking for you. Okay? And if you are lazy, you are going to do the minimum as possible. So, these two, and the way that I actually think is that we should use these two characteristics to have a better performance. If you are trying to do the minimum, but you have to accomplish goals and purpose, and you are working on a team, you must do it the simplest way, the best way, so you do not have to do it again. So that instead of wasting 1 hour, you are just using 45 minutes. And then you are being selfish because you are looking the way that you can do it better for others, but also for you. So because you do not want to spend 9, 10 hours in the company, you just want to be there 8. You just want to stay there that time. You want to do the things that you love. So this tool is going on that direction, and I can share just an example. I'm actually working with a client where in one of the planning process, people were spending time every day replanning. Okay, and then we started having a plan, and now they were upset because they were losing between 5 hours, 5 and something, a few minutes more hours. But before they were losing more than a day. But now they are upset because they are losing 5 hours, and the purpose is to spend 2 to 2.5 hours with all the process and thinking about the process for 3 to 4 weeks. And I was happy when they told me that they were unhappy because they were spending 5 hours, because before they were spending one day. And this is going to what Michael said, the balance between happiness and the obligation to work. So I can sum up with the sentence of Suzaki that I really enjoy, that he said, live in such a way that there are no barriers between week and weekend. And it means that we can manage time, manage our life, manage our work, and to balance. So that's the way I see it. And I want to thank Michael for this sharing moment. An awesome tool. And I think that more than the tool, for those who are listening or will listen to Michael's words, is the change of perspective and of the way that people look for life and for work. So, Michael, I want to thank you so much for this sharing moment. Quite important.
Thank you both.
And well, just letting an extra note that between Christmas and New Year on the 29th of December, WREM is coming back, and in a few days we will launch the next subject, and to discuss the new approaches for a continuous flow, and to picking up Michael's words, to spend time being happy. So thank you so much again, and thank you for all of those who were with us. And Diogo, thank you so much also for you, for the perfect management of time.
I just want to close out with another comment from one of our viewers, and this would have been another can of worms that I would love to open if we had another half an hour with the events that happened in the last. It feels like months, but it's been 2 years. We cannot. Everyone is now sending more emails. Everyone is more physically farther away. Marinho even brings here an idea in one of the companies that he worked for before. They brought everyone in the administrative sectors into one room, which they call the communication center, so that the information would flow more smoothly. And now, of course, that everyone is separated physically in their own houses, this information doesn't flow as freely as it flowed before. So LeanMail is also a great way to create, as Michael wants, flow in our professional and I'm sure personal life. So, Michael, thanks a lot for showing us the tool, and thank you to our viewers both in Facebook and LinkedIn, and wish you all a great evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.